and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in our beautiful north, and welcome. As we continue to our next chapter, well, maybe starting a new chapter. We completed our Elohim master key codes, and now we're coming to the Temple of Light Mastership. And there are 4 parts to this series. And this one is True Being, okay? And these channeled in as well in Mount Shasta in the August of 2024. Okay, all of this came in together. And if you've seen how this August of 2025 has gone so far, you can see there's a lot of change. There's a lot of maybe upheaval or things switching around. So this is why these were received at that time, because there is so much change happening this year, and this month of August is a very rapid shifting month. And very synchronistically, we are starting this series. So I'll go ahead and I'll read the channeled material as the introduction for the overall Temple of Light Mastership classes. Okay, and we'll just kind of go over all of it. What I will say is that the 4 parts to this series don't have to be done sequentially. They're kind of each their own little module. Okay, so but I would say overall they build to a larger understanding of the Temple of Light Mastership. And maybe I'll back up a little bit. Before I go into the Mastership, I'll explain what the Temple of Light or how I access that. Okay, this is in 2021. I was called to go down to Encinitas, California, where there is the self-realization meditation gardens and the center where Yogananda used to teach. And back when Yogananda was incarnated, he had had a vision while living in India that a temple of sorts would be built in Encinitas. So he could already sense that there was a power spot there, which we like to call a vortex. So when I went down there, of course, Yogananda is passed on, but the frequency of the vortex and all the work that he did and his temple work there has amplified the teachings of that vortex. So just imagine if there was some sort of special spiritual dedicated vocation in Mount Shasta, right? How that church or temple or whatever you want to call it, gathering space would then build all of this energy. So when I visited down there, I ended up in my Akashic Enlightenment. And while I was in Akashic Enlightenment, just sitting in the meditation gardens, I connected to the vortex and had what's called a middle world journey, which is, kind of in this case, it was more spontaneous, but you just travel through the space that you are in to a higher dimensional realm within that space. And this can be seen as you could do this as if you're here and then you do a middle world shamanic journey to Encinitas and then connect to the vortex after you've already been there. That's easier to do. But in shamanism, we call that the middle world journey. So this was happening spontaneously just because I was in Akashic Enlightenment, which puts you into a higher dimensional energy field. And when I was there, Yogananda showed up and they brought me into the ocean, into a place first that was called the City of Light. And I ventured into that space, and I may need to back up. I think that happened afterwards. The first interaction that I had was actually in the temple or in the meditation gardens, and it was the shamanic journey experience of meeting Babaji. Okay, and in this journey, I was moved into this temple. I can already feel the energy coming in. I was moved into this temple, and it was like this garden, this lush tropical garden, and went into this. It was a very rustic temple, kind of like made out of rocks and stone. And when I went in there and sat at the center fireplace, Babaji was sitting there and asked me to sit with him. And I felt my third eye connect to his third eye, and a download and guidance of what to do. And that was in December of 2021. Then I went back, or I did a retreat in February or in March of 2022 that connected to Haleakala in Maui. And in this time, I was told of how the vortex energy comes through the Hawaiian Islands, right? From Kauai, the birthing vortex, which we went to in May, and then comes down through the islands, and then comes down to Encinitas, where it comes into the United States. And it comes through to Joshua Tree and then Sedona, all right? And so the energy line carries these frequencies of our ancient earth, but also this is, you could say, the power spots that first introduce us to the new frequencies coming to Earth. They also allow for us to have accelerated healing as well as accelerated consciousness shifts, which is why we go to these locations to meditate or do energy work, or maybe we just feel drawn to go there at times, or we're guided and told, which in my case, that's what happens is I get guided to go down there. So then I think it was then once I accessed the City of Light in March through the Maui, Hawaii retreat that I did online, again, doing a middle world shamanic journey to connect to the vortex there, because I've already visited there many times. And at that time, then they started opening up the Temple of Light. And the Temple of Light is then where Babaji, as well as Yogananda, as well as many ascended masters are. So it's a very high frequency dimensional temple in a higher dimensional space that was accessed through visiting these vortex locations, right? They shift your frequency and then they introduce you to higher dimensional planes. So in this case, it is the Temple of Light. So over the years now, I've been doing work in the Temple of Light. And so this then creates a stronger connection. And so then once I was in Mount Shasta, I was actually surprised to receive then the guidance to work with the Temple of Light. So it's kind of like moving vortex locations as the energy shifts on the planet, the energy shifts that's coming into the vortexes. So now there is going to be a focus on the Temple of Light. And this seems very appropriate for the shift that we are going through this year, 2025, coming into 20 years of Pluto in Aquarius, which is very different than the 16 years of Pluto in Capricorn that we just had. So this is going to assist us with receiving that higher knowledge, that acceleration of our consciousness, more or less to catch up with where is Pluto and Aquarius taking us, right? And where is it taking us on our individual developmental paths? Okay, so for this portion, okay, we're going to talk more now about what is the Temple of Light Mastership. Okay, so you know the space that we're going into is going to be the Temple of Light. Okay, so the Mastership program overall, okay, this is, let me get to the, here we go. This program is a multi-course program for all souls seeking enlightenment. This is a greater overall knowledge base of awakening, knowledge of self-understanding. Self-understanding is awakening, and awakening is the core structure of these teachings. It will provide a new light encoding for the collective, allowing you to become teachers of light via your light field or increased consciousness. Each one increases one's frequency and consciousness so as to teach others this level of light and pass this presence of light being to others with your own presence. This one is what happens naturally as we shift our consciousness, which is why we do this work, to become more aware, more aligned, how to hold that alignment, and then teaching that through how we respond to others or how we respond to situations once this frequency has taught us more of how to stay in this, you could say, this true presence, this true being of who we really are. So the true being, okay, this is going to be a total of 5 sessions. Our first one today is just 60 minutes. Okay, each one is going to have, this one's going to have one 30-minute transmission, and then the other 4 are going to have 2 30-minute transmissions. Okay, and these are going to be done in the Temple of Light within Akashic Enlightenment. So you're welcome to open your own Akashic Enlightenment. Okay, and we'll be connecting to the Temple of Light, the ascended beings here for these attunements. Sorry, they're not transmissions, these are attunements. So this is more of a permanent awakening consciousness that's going to be transferred in. All right. I don't think it's going to be building so much a structure as it is a higher frequency, higher knowledge, and higher awareness. Okay. The Elohim tend to be the ones that work more on building structures. Okay. We'll see what happens when we get in there, but that's my understanding. So for this one, become a master, this one being the true being class of the Temple of Light Mastership classes. Okay, so become a master of your own light field, understanding who you are as a being of light. Understanding this allows for you to touch your true inner being. This is who one truly is and always is. Through associating from this identification, you purify your view of the world and others in it as you are associating from a true being perspective, not a false being perspective or egoic perspective. Through these Temple of Light, light energy teachings, okay, so they're calling them light teachings, which is more knowledge, knowledge and awakening. You are exposed to this knowledge and understanding on a deeper light level that is assimilated with your higher knowing and allowing you to again experience oneness with your true source light. This allows for awakening and awareness of true being, which once regularly practiced allows for a truer existence of being. So 9 sessions with 30-minute attunements. Okay, we're actually combining them into less sessions. But there's a total of 9 30-minute attunements. 3 for each of the body's attunement vortexes, bringing in this mastership light level. Access this level of light, pass this presence of light being to others with your own presence. Okay, so I'd say over the next couple of weeks that we're doing these, you'll get a sense of your consciousness or your presence ability shifting. Okay, and it may be subtle or it may be extreme, just depending how it's unfolding for you on your path. All right. Are there any questions to that before we go in? Okay. So this is where you can open. Oh, you have a question, okay?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. It seems to me then, or what I just perceive, it is a deeper level. It is for some reason, it feels different, almost a little bit removed from the other classes, also the Aqualorians, and it will go deeper. It is like an own module in itself. It feels on a purer, deeper level.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say that.
You could say that this would be the origin point of the light that the Aqualorians work with.
Right, exactly, something like that. Huh.
Yeah,
okay.
As well as the Elohim, right? So the Elohim build the structures, the Aqualorian and the Aqualorian crystal and light healing. This works more on healing, energy healing, right?
Yeah.
But both of them are working with this true source light energy, which is what the Temple of Light is going to be connecting us to for a direct experience. Yeah.
Right, exactly. That's what it feels like, as if, like you said, as if it were the origin.
Yeah, it's the origin. You could say even more raw, right? It has put into another 4.
Right. Okay. Okay.
We will go over, and I mean, I should have maybe mentioned this part as well. Let me see. Did I write it in? Okay, it's not on this page. But when we go through these classes, so this one is just the true being. Let me get my the full description of all of them. Okay. So this one is the true being, and then the next one is the way of the light master, which again will just come into the temple of light and we'll be working with Akashic enlightenment, but with a different focus or intention of what we're receiving. Okay, but then part 3, we do start to connect with the Aquilorians in the temple of light. All right, so that will be different. Okay, so the first 2 are more connecting to the origin energies, as we're calling them. Okay, and then part 3 comes to enlightenment keys and codes. Okay, so that's going to be a different structure of working with the frequencies and combining it with the crystal and light healing. Okay, and then the 4th one, true enlightenment soul reunification. This is where we do work in the temple of light and the oversoul and directly with source. And we're going to be, I think we're doing Akashic enlightenment question work and transmissions and attunements. Just scanning it through again. Oh no, so part 3 we're doing Aquilorian work and Akashic enlightenment work. Okay, so that one's going to be a little bit more of a interactive experience of learning. Okay, and then the 4th one is going to be, I think, pretty intense. Is we're going to go directly to the oversoul. Yeah, but I can feel the energy starting to come in. So at this point, I'm going to stop talking and open up the space, and we'll do our first attunement of the Temple of Light Mastership for true being. Okay. All right, so go ahead and get comfortable. Make sure your spine is straight, arms and legs are uncrossed. Open your own Akashic enlightenment if you haven't yet. And I will see you on the other side. Okay. Oh. So space is now open and we're just sitting in. Okay. And now begin moving dimensionally to connect and enter into the Temple of Light dimensional space. into the temple of light. And I see this as being a beautiful golden and white light temple with a lotus flower in the center, a large lotus flower that we actually sit in. Um, I do see Yogananda and Babaji coming forward from this. There's like a portal of light at the front of the temple. And Babaji has a very funny energy. He's always just kind of bubbly and giggly, a very light soul. um, and he's just kind of like, "Are you ready to connect to your true being?" It's very playful about it. Okay, yeah. So we say, yes, we are. Yes, we are. So this looks like these are going to be our spirit teachers for this series. And now Babaji is just, it looks like there's this huge pillar of light coming into the center of the lotus flower. And it's just kind of bathing us in this egg shape of light in the light field. You may feel it more directly in the third eye in the center of the head, coming in. Or maybe even the energy centers above the head. So just allow these frequencies of the first attunement, true being temple by mastership. Allow the frequencies to follow. There's a sense of traveling deeper into this light. There actually seems to be this beautiful sense of joy. I tend to call that the happy Buddha. Very peaceful joy. I'm just hearing the words. This is where everything is equal. Everything is the same, all is one. I see this golden light opening in the heart space and enveloping the whole being, expanding into the inner body. All the aura clears. And there's a teaching coming in about the power of pure light to heal. Light in the form of consciousness and presence. Continuing to allow the frequencies to come in. Now a sense of culmination or integration. So, starting to sit up in the center, around that center of the lotus flower. Almost like each of you is sitting on your own petal of the flower. And just allowing the light knowledge to finalize its integration. And now I see Babaji closing down the pillar of light in the center of the lotus flower. You say your teaching for today is now coming to completion. I'm just coming down off of the lotus flower, thanking Babaji. They say it is the joy and the light in me that is the joy and the light in you. We are already one. That there is really nothing to be done or doing. We are just being. Thank you. And thank you, Ananda. And now we begin to come back from the Temple of Light space, going back to this dimensional space, going back to the zone and the space that you're in. Going all the way back, just feeling your hands and feet, your fingers and toes. Open your eyes. You can close your Akashic enlightenment. And I'll go ahead and close the space. And completes our first attunement of the Temple of Light Mastership, True Being. It's been a while since I've been to that. I don't know if frequency or space is the appropriate description, but it's so clean and so pure. And the joy and the innocence of Babaji and being in the Temple of Light. Yeah, it's beautiful. So we can open up to any sharing if you would like. So sharing, we can just close out the session for today. Okay, it is typing in very strong, very deep, and different from all else. Yeah, very strong and very deep. Yeah. Yeah, to me, it feels like home. It feels very close to just what the frequency of the Akashic enlightenment is. Right? As its full potential, I guess you could say. The enlightenment potential. Yeah, of the Akasha and source. Wonderful. Yes, you could use this as a meditation for this week if you'd like to, just to keep connecting to the energy and immersing in it. Some days it may be stronger than others, as it realigns your energy and gets you again used to this frequency or the knowledge it's giving you. Yeah, so enjoy, and we will meet here next week, and we'll do 2 of the attunements. in the 10th love. All right. Thank you so much, those who are joining live. Thank you to everybody doing the replays. And I will see you here next week. All right. Enjoy the new moon today. Okay. Thank you. And bye for now.